We've all been there, folks. You're having fun with the boys. It's the beginning of a new game of cyber attack or search and destroy that you happen to join in late on, and you're messing around with some janky class setup that couldn't kill a fly even if you dumped the whole mag into it, because let's be real, sometimes it just feels good to not have to sweat in every lobby you get into, even though skill-based matchmaking would have you believe otherwise. But pretty soon, you notice something's up, but you can't quite put your finger on it. You've got the bomb and pushed up halfway to the enemy's objective, but you haven't heard a single shot go off, or even seen a glimpse of an enemy. And that's when it hits you. You're playing a full team of campers who have decided they've got nothing better to do with their increasingly limited time on this insignificant blue rock hurtling through the void of outer space than to literally sit in their spawn and wait for you to play the actual objective of the game and subsequently walk right into their trap or head glitch or mounted aim down sight walkway. Whatever the scenario, however severe the offenders, the subject of today's video is campers and how you can completely destroy them and utterly Moo Crew cow pun, humiliate them. I'm Mr. Mooman11, and I'm gonna teach you how to win all your games against campers. What I've got here today is a game of cyber attack against a full team of spawn campers I'd like to break down for you, and along the way give some helpful tips, strategies, and general gameplay advice you can draw upon when you find yourself face to face against a team of kids that never bothered to learn how to use their left thumbstick. Now the first tool you have in your toolbox to defeat campers is early detection. Mojo Jojo said, or maybe it was G.I. Jojo, said knowing is half the battle, and the longer it takes you to identify that you're playing against hardcore campers, the more rounds you're giving them for free by playing right into their dishonorable strategy. They're counting on the element of surprise, and slow reaction times on your part to realize their tactics, because no one plays this slow, right? Wrong. Some people just want to watch the world burn. These are the type of kids that put the milk in before the cereal, just real shameless individuals. So it's up to you to catch on to what they're doing and strap on your tryhard panties early enough in the game to where you've still got a chance to come back and get that dub. Now to give you a little background on this game specifically, I was AFK during round 1 because I was a thirsty boy an hour before and had drank like 10 gallons of water, of which I then needed to expel at tremendous force from my body, so I started recording at the start of round 2. Now when I got back, my team had told me this wild story of how the enemy team was posted up in their spawn on the helipad, locking down every possible route to plant the bomb, but I was like you, blissfully ignorant at how low a team could stoop to try to get a win. And I chose to ignore the data presented to me and instead wanted to see for myself what we were up against. And what do you know? We were actually playing a team that refused to move out of their spawn, and just waited for us to make a move so they could pick us off from the comfort of their own little campground. But now that I had seen what we were up against, and the realization that they've now got 3 free round wins against us set in, it's time to make the call to play for real and put them in their place. Now that you've identified their strategy, you've got to work with your team and communicate with each other to come up with a counter to their playstyle.
Maybe we gotta play the push a little slower.
Yeah, I agree. Like, literally one person needs to peek around a corner and 5 of us need to be behind.
Yeah.
No ideas are too off the wall. Because if I learned anything from my last X, it's that to beat crazy, you gotta think crazy. Don't be afraid to follow in the footsteps of the great thinkers, like Aristotle, Plato, the marketing director at KFC that discovered that you can replace the buns of a sandwich with fried chicken and still be legally allowed to call that monstrosity food.
You want me to be a riot shielder, dog?
Unheard of. But yes, finish hashing out your plan and designate 1 or 2 of your teammates to switch to a Riot Shield class next round. And we'll talk about the strategies for pushing up as a team then. But while you're still scheming for the next round, don't forget you've got to play out the current round too and win. Check all your corners and clear out any campers you find as well as their pesky claymores so none of your teammates get down to something so avoidable. Continue to fight along the same front and stay nearby each other in case anyone goes down to a kid mounted on a deployable shield with an LMG. Provide cover while your medic gets a revive and make sure you're keeping tabs on where the remaining enemy players are if you've got the info so they can't surprise you and get the drop on your team.
All the way back in their spawn,
What am
so
I doing?
weak. Last guy's way back in
Okay, got
spawn,
one.
super weak.
Callouts are your friend. Don't be afraid to slide into your boys' DMs to warn them there's a guy with a gun at the back of the map. Just make sure you're giving accurate and precise callouts so you avoid making the proverbial Reaper callout, or a callout that is so blatantly wrong and misinformed that you're better off looking the exact opposite direction. We love you, Reaper. Just work on those callouts, man. But just like that, you'll have reversed the tides of the war just by identifying the enemy's strategy and playing as a team to counter it. But by no means does this mean you can get complacent. You've still got to be on your toes and start to implement your Riot Shield strategy. Having 1 or 2 guys on your team switch to Riot Shields can seriously throw off the enemy team if you play your cards right. Pushing up as a team is an absolute must, and your Riot Shielders have got to lead that charge. They are your most valuable asset at this point since they practically provide the role of a mobile deployable cover, so it's important that they don't just rush out into the open and die. If they do happen to fall in a really inconvenient place where you can't get their pickup, this strategy does not work. So as the Riot Shielder for your team, you've got to play it slow. You've got all the time in the world since you know the enemy's tactic. They'll sit back in their spawn indefinitely, twiddling their thumbs, so you got to stick to your team like glue and make sure they can pick you up if you go down. Now, if you're a gunner and you're in a position where your Riot Shielders have died and there's no possibility of picking them up, your chances of winning the round go down drastically. The enemy team is likely to stay in their spawn until they have a numbers advantage, and only then will they push out of their base to get you, so remember to watch your back if you're put into a 1v5 or 6 situation. It can be difficult, and you might not always win that round. But that's okay. At this point, things may be looking a little bleak, but remember, you've only just begun to play the counter against the mega camping team. And if you forget about the 3 rounds where you were fumbling blindly against them, it's like you've won 1 round and they've won 1 round. Keep a level head, revise your plan however you need, and get back out there and execute it.
Can our Riot Shielders move a little bit slower? Everyone right side, and we just push it up slow.
Continue to push up as a team, funneling in behind your Riot Shielder Quacky Boy, and get ready to dig in for the long haul. Nothing can beat your team's combination of gun skill, tactics, and impenetrable Riot Shielder.
Rest in peace, Quacker!
Unless, of course, they have kill streaks, in which case all bets are off. But here's where moving as a team comes into play. Even if your Riot Shielder goes down, then that LMG head glitch kid picks off another teammate of yours, you can still get revives, because in cyber attack, revives win games. Maintain your concealment and stay behind hard cover, and watch in horror as your teammates don't follow suit. Doesn't matter though, you've got guys watching your back, and you're in a position where you can't get shot from the front, so play medic and get as many revives as you can.
Quackers, I need your Riot Shield, my guy.
I got it.
Gotcha.
That's not your Riot Shield, buddy.
From there, it's all about turning the enemy's strengths into their weaknesses, and improving upon their strategy and using it to your advantage. Communicate with your Riot Shielder to stay put, and systematically take out the defenders in the most powerful positions. When you open up a major hole in their line, assess the path to their objective, and if it's clear, punch through and plant that bomb. This effectively turns their strategy on their head, and now the clock is ticking for them to move out of their camper positions. The name of the game at this point is containment. As long as they don't get the defuse off, you've won the round. And now that you've got your general strategy down, keep refining what's working and see what you can improve upon. For example, I noticed in the last round that I was trying to challenge kids on head glitches from a distance, so switching to a class that excelled in range and accuracy would be a smart choice, just like switching to Geico is a smart choice that could save you 15% or more on car insurance. I brought out my trusty old SOCOM round M4 class setup since it packs a punch and is excellent at taking out kids on a head glitch. And if you want to check out the best classes to use for cyber attack, including this one, check out my Modern Warfare class guide at the end of the video. Next, you've got to play to your class's strengths, and remember to group up with your team so you can prioritize pickups, because if you haven't heard me mention it before, revives win games. Keep your head on a swivel in case they decide to send someone out to flank you, and if you start to notice teammates dropping, move to cover the exposed position and thwart any counterattacks. Don't forget to revive, and you'll slowly whittle away the enemy forces and secure another round win. Now at this point, you're well on your way to making your solid comeback with your team, but keep in mind that the enemy can change their strategy up at any time too. So continue to move as a 6-man, push up with your Riot Shielders, and identify that they're still utilizing the same strategy each new round. If they are still running that tried and true camp till I die strat, start to get creative with your tactics. Since you know where they'll be camping, find new lines of sight they won't be expecting to pick them off of their various positions. And if they want to keep getting revives on their guys while they're in terrible pickup positions, let them. Free kills for you. You can even predict the pickups and pre-fire where they'll pop up to further demoralize them, because nothing says F you like spawning for less than a quarter of a second and immediately dying. Also make sure to utilize any kill streaks you rack up along the way, and quietly die inside knowing that a little tripod with a golf ball on it can completely counter a 2-ton intercontinental ballistic missile. Get your bomb plan off when you've cleared out enough enemy guys, and defend it to tie up the game to send it into game point after an excruciating 17 minutes of in-game time against the world's most adamant campers.
Fuck these dudes.
Yes, fuck these dudes indeed. Only one round remains separating you from glorious victory over such colossal camping tryhards, but don't let that get in your head. You're here to win, and you got this far by staying cool, calm, and collected with your team by your side. So bring that same energy here into overtime, and get ready for whatever shenanigans they might throw at you this round. Let's recap the most important points for you to keep in mind and follow for your games. 1. Identify that the enemy team does in fact have every intention of camping instead of playing the objective this round. 2. Communicate with your team and come up with a strategy that'll counter their playstyle. This can include switching up your classes to take them out from range, delegating members of your team to be riot shielders, making sure to secure the EMP each round, etc., etc. 3. Push up with your riot shielders leading the pack. And 4. Prioritize revives to keep the numbers advantage over the enemy team, while you 5. Pick off enemies and clear your corners on your way to the bomb. Couple of extra things to keep in mind are that the enemy team can change up their playstyle at any point in the game, especially if you start wrecking them at their own game. So be sure you can identify when they make that switch up and always be wary of a lone flanker. As you learned in my How to Win Every Game of Cybertech series, you can use the EMP to sweep for enemies, and when you spot them on your minimap, make the call out for your team to take them out. Like in the previous rounds, systematically take out the remaining bad guys, and you'll have learned how to win against even the most well-organized tryhard campers. And the last thing to do after you celebrate your well-deserved win is to gawk in complete astonishment at the chat where a Trump supporter calls your team out for camping. Classic. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and if you did, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing to the Moo Crew for more. I'll also be getting more into live streaming at the beginning of 2021, so go follow our Twitch stream at twitch.tv/MrMooMan11. Thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next one.